Dun, 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 dun. Good morning. Good morning. This is usually the part where I am late and getting up and running. How are you all doing? Okay. Let's give this a second to get started. Hopefully it's starting. He's not convinced it's starting. Videos. Let's go ahead here. I should hopefully be live, but right now I can't get this app to open. It says scheduled. Are we live? Are we live? Let's try to close the app. Dun, dun. See, we might be live for all I know. How did I close this app? There we go. Close all. No, close all. This is a tablet I don't use that often. And so I'm trying to just make sure it all goes up and running. But right now, it's not. I mean, I might be live as far as you're concerned. I'll be with you in a second. It's all good. This is not working. Do I have the internets? Do I have the internets? Let's see. Do I have the internets? I mean, everything might be fine. I just don't know. What is happening here? Give me a second here. The question is, when did I get new internet? We should have internet. We do have internet. You'll have to give me a second. I apologize. Again, that's assuming I'm even visible for you, because I don't know if I am. Let's just try this. Start with the internets. Make sure I have internet on my tablet. In theory... Oh, yeah, I see. We got people. We got people. Okay, so I can see over there that we got people. That part's fine. But I don't currently have the rest of the internets working on my tablet here, so I need to make sure that this works. Let's go ahead and type in that. No. There's no internets on my tablet. Well, this is disappointing. If you give me a minute, I might switch to my phone if I need to, but I'd like to find out why there's no internet on my tablet first, because that's something that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, let's turn this on. Let's see if we got internets. Okay, so it seems to imply that we have internets. No internets. There we go. Okay, now we have the internets. I have to turn my Wi-Fi off and on again. But we have internets. Here we go. I got y'all. I got you. Okay, cool. Okay, very good. It seems that we can interact. Yes. Successful. You are such a troll. Okay, let's go off again. Starting. We have that. Wait, where'd the chat go? Where'd the chat go? We have starting. We have successful. Eric, hi, Alex. Successful. You don't have internet. I can't hear you talking with that. Well, I know you can. That was the part. I kept talking to the camera the entire time because it is entirely possible that everything is all hunky-dory. But I just didn't know. I was like, I got nothing here. And then I realized I can look over there where I have Streamlabs set up, and I can see over there people talking there. The reason I have a tablet here is because Streamlabs is there, and I still like actual interaction. So I figured it out. It's all good. Seth, I can see you. Well, I appreciate it. Redford Clan, good morning, Alex. Always happy to see your live shows. I wanted to ask, what are your thoughts on Dice Throne Adventures? I need to play it. I love Dice Throne. That's not true. I really like Dice Throne. I don't love it. I think Dice Throne is a lot of fun. I think it's a little repetitive, but I really enjoy the art, the characters. It's a lot of fun. I don't think it's the most essential game ever, but I really enjoy Dice Throne. And Dice Throne Adventures, I'm hoping I'll enjoy too, but I need to play it. Good morning, Omega Rocker. Michael Joseph, you better be real or I have more issues than I thought today. Successful Geek, BGC professional streamer. Successful? Don't you dare. Don't you dare start with me. So here's the deal. I hate streaming for exactly this kind of stuff. I hate it. I do it because that's not true. I hate aspects of streaming. There are many aspects of streaming that I find positive, beneficial, rewarding, all those things. But there are certainly aspects of streaming that I find frustrating because things happen and stuff goes on and it's always on an exact schedule and it's all these extra things that get in the way. But I like the interaction, both over here as well as on Twitch when we're gaming. Well, I like most of the interaction. There's this one guy on Twitch who's super annoying. Seth, would it be insulting if I hit like while you're going on about how you don't even know if we're all here? No, it would not be insulting. By all means, like away. Callow, have you played the new Foundations of Rome expansion? No, I have not. In fact, more than that, I looked at the Kickstarter to see details about it, and it's like the most loosely vague details I've ever seen. Like, it's a $40 expansion. I'll probably get it. I really don't have a good idea of what I'm buying. There's like one aspect. Okay, it makes the corners and the sides of the board more impactful. Is there more stuff happening? I got nothing. You know what? I'll be at Gen Con. I'm going to go find Robert. I'm going to find our Arcane Wonders, and I'm going to harass them to find out what's in the expansion, because I got no clue what I'm actually buying. I just like Foundations of Rome. Hopefully I actually see something before the end of the campaign. Kun Wang, just wondering if you could share with us the status of Stormsunder. With all the Saga companies shutting down, is it time to panic? So, I don't have any insider information on Stormsunder. I will say two things. I'll probably say more than two things, let's be honest. First of all, is that when it comes to Stormsunder, I was skeptical that I'd ever see Wild Ascent, and it showed up. So my skepticism was already rewarded. Well, my skepticism was wrong, not rewarded, with Wild Ascent. I will say that all companies are going to have issues in different ways. The only question is, are those issues going to be in front of the picture, where we can see them and possibly have to pay for them, or are they behind the scenes? All companies are eating costs in some way, shape, or form. It's just some of those are being passed on to you, some aren't. So I have no idea. I imagine Stormsunder will in some way show up. Whether or not they have to ask for more money, I don't know. But I don't imagine they're simply going away goodbye. Sam Howe, good morning, Alex. Good morning, Sam. Successful. Watching Rolling Solo video of Primal last night, and even more hype. You should be hyped for Primal. It's amazing. Pokeballs. Hey Alex, any tips for a first time at Gen Con? Going with my girlfriend this year, and it seems very overwhelming. So if you mean first time at Gen Con, I can't answer that. Never been to Gen Con. If you mean first time at conventions, they can be overwhelming. First of all, try to get your badge on Wednesday if you're there Wednesday. There'll be significantly less people waiting in line for a badge on Wednesday than Thursday. Wednesday's wait might be 20 minutes, half an hour. Thursday's wait might be 3 times that. So try to get your badge on Wednesday if you're there. Just statistically, there'll be fewer people there Wednesday than there are Thursday. And so that's first of all. Past that, walk in with a plan. In fact, if you know what it is, you should do. There's a video over on Board Vengers. It's a video that I did with 2 people in the Board Vengers, but you can check that out. There are a bunch of tips, including from some people who've been to Gen Con, so you can check that out. Eric, will you review the new Foundations of Rome expansion? Not unless they send it to me. Kobe, I am pondering getting Foundations of Rome. I really like to hear your thoughts on spending so much on a gateway game. A good gateway game given a great one. So my advice with Foundations of Rome would be pretty simple. Don't get it. No, like really, don't get it. It's $200 for a polyomino game. Do you know how many games you can buy with $200? Don't get Foundations of Rome. Now, my standard follow-up advice with expensive stuff is if you still want to ignore me, then you're not the target audience for this conversation. It is an expensive premium game. I think it's excellent. I think you can get 7 or 8 games for that price, possibly more, possibly less, depending on what you're getting your hands on. So I would say if you're on the fence, don't get it. Buy other games that will give you a total accumulated greater degree of happiness. I'm not saying get bad games. I'm saying get other good games that are cheap. Baron Park, fantastic game. You can get Baron Park and the expansion and Patchwork and Planet Unknown, and you'll still have spent less money than you spent on Foundations of Rome. So I would say don't get it. And if you want to ignore me, so be it. Kum Wang, suddenly no playthrough reviews on videos on Stormsunder. There's no change of playthrough or reviews. It's just an older title. There's not going to be any content on it right now. Nothing would change right now. Callow, I'm so used to listening to you on 2x speed that this seems slow. Callow, I'll try to wrap up the pace as fast as I possibly can. The good news is if I know what I'm talking about, I can go faster than the previously answering questions. The biggest problem with answering questions is I have to pause to talk to the actual repeating of the question, and that slows me down a bit. But if I'm actually just going ahead in a roundabout circle and saying the same things again and again, it is significantly easier. Or even if I'm talking about a favorite game. So for example, last night we played Gloomhaven. We played Gloomhaven over on Twitch, Professor Meg. It was so incredible. Seriously, I mean, it's my own incredible journey, so like I'm like very invested in it. But my character's about to retire, they're about to die, and so they didn't actually die after like 3 games in a row of winning after 3 boss fights, which is insane because if you've been watching us on Twitch, you know we lose most of our games. That's not true, not most. We lose about half of our games, and last night we just won 3 boss fights while my character's about to die and about to retire, and I'm conflicted with emotions, and it's really tearing me up inside. And let's go back to the chat. Successful. At least Meg will unban me. Not on my channel, she won't. Actually, she's a mod. She might be able to unban you. I have to go check her permissions. Stacy, hey, good morning, Stacy. How's it going? Seth, Professor Meg. What did Professor Meg retract? I don't know if Professor Meg retracted. Seth, is it going to fit in the box? Yes, the Foundations of Rome expansion is going to fit in the box. They cover that in Update 1. Kum Wang, thanks so much for sharing your wisdom. Appreciate it. Not so much wisdom, it's ignorance right now, but general. Successful Geeks, Stormsunder will take a while. Michael Joseph, struggling to Awaken Realms pledges. Playmat, Lords of Ragnarok, Sundrop for the Great. That's a lot. Michael Joseph, that's a lot of questions. You gotta narrow it down to drop. Don't get the things you're on the fence about. Sundrop, get Sundrop. Don't get playmats. I'm biased by my own advice. I don't get playmats. I do get Sundrop. I do sometimes get playmats, but more often than not, I don't use them. Miniatures, Cast of Burgundy, I absolutely would get, but these are all decisions you have to make. Demiracle, how much do you add to your average game of Black Plague? I got it in expansion, just want to add in all Wolfsburg, Deadeye, NFRT, and extra abominations to most games, but doesn't seem ideal. Fun fact, Demiracle, in the next few weeks over on Quack & Co., there's a video talking about how I modify and adjust my Black Plague experience. Professor Meg, I LOL hard at, I'll say more than 2 things, let's be honest. So I know myself, Meg. I know that I will start with like a thing and a thought and just go onwards from there. Successful. I foolishly backed Primal based on Alex, and despite all his videos about it, I didn't get hyped until I watched other people's videos. That's your own problem, not mine, Successful. If you backed Primal based on my videos and you think you shouldn't have, that makes you the fool. For the record, for those watching, Successful and I have a very interesting relationship in which we mostly insult each other. I don't insult random viewers and commenters otherwise. It's only if I know how bad you actually are as a person. Callo, I remember you once saying with Primal was an amazing card game that had miniatures. Yes, Callo, it is an amazing card game that has miniatures. That's how I feel about it, but it doesn't stop it from being amazing. Successful. Hi, Meg. Thanks for raising the quality of the stream by showing up here. How far behind am I? Wow, I'm only 3 minutes behind. It's not bad. Callo, unless you're painting it to get the sun drop, so worth it. Flying Solo. Hi, Alex. Thinking of backing Dodos Riding Dinos as a game to play with my kids. Any thoughts? Have a 6-year-old trying to get into the hobby. It seems like a great game for that, but I haven't played it myself. From what I've seen of it, coverage on Dice Tower, coverage on Crackalope, I do believe it is a great game to play with their kids. Koyan, Mind Management, Sniper, Elite, Beast, how would you rank them? For myself, this ranking has a caveat, but it's Mind Management, Beast, and then Sniper Elite. I think Mind Management and Beast are the 2 best hidden movement games I've ever played. Stop making noises, phone. I think they're the 2 best hidden movement games I've ever played. The caveat is Mind Management is above Beast, but I won't be able to answer that fully until I finish, until I play the final version of Beast. The version of Beast I had 1 or 2 small critiques, and I know they made changes to that. It is entirely possible that they'll be neck and neck, or that Beast might overtake Mind Management. Right now, Mind Management wins a drop. Omega Rocker, I tabled Cascade last night and ended up being a little let down. I think I like Overboss better. Interesting. I walked into both games having no expectations. I walked into Cascadia and absolutely loved it. I walked into Overboss and just felt it was a lesser version of Cascadia. Now, some of it is theme. I do prefer the nature theme than the 8-bit dungeon theme. But I think just even mechanically speaking, I think I vastly prefer Cascadia. I can go into the whys. I almost debated doing a play this, not that of the 2 games, but didn't. But I love Cascadia, and I thought Overboss was totally fine, and I probably would have liked it if not for Cascadia. But hey, different strokes. Yogi Bear, hang on, I'm putting you on 0.25 speed. Yeah, I like when I could go fast just for the sake of going fast. Now that is faster than I normally talk. I do try to slow it down sometimes in videos, but I have like a normal speed, which is like, let's say 1.0. When I'm doing videos, I'm probably on 0.9, 0.8 of myself because I'm cognizant that I should slow down a bit, but I have a hard time slowing down as much as I could, and then I could ramp it up to natural 2 times speed, but only if I am talking about something I actually know. If I have to pause and think and process, it's different. If you give me a conversation piece where I can just go on, 2 times speed's easy. Simon, have you played Endless Winter yet? Yes, I have played Endless Winter. I've played it with some of the expansions and modules, and I still love it. I have not played with all the expansions and modules. Once I do so, there'll be a fully revised review of it. A new review, a final game and expansions. Kalo, I love the instant 2 times speed. Absolutely. The Woodman, I normally listen to you at half speed. This is too fast. Sorry. Successful. Alex's mediocre Gloomhaven journey accompanied by the amazing Professor Meg. Honestly, I love that title. If that title, is that title less than 100 characters? Because if it's less than 100 characters, we can use it for a YouTube video and make some progress with it. Kyojin, good evening from Tokyo. Good evening! How's Tokyo doing? Professor Meg, I retracted a typo, that's all. Cool. Veldurak, will you be taking a look at Leader Games' new asymmetric game, Ahoy? Stop making noises, phone. Did I not mute you? Give me a second here. Give me a second. I could have sworn I muted you. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, do not forget vaccinations card. Yeah, that's right. I won't, okay? I need to tell my friend that I have a travel list. This is a big thing I recommend in general for conventions. Have a travel list. I have a travel list that I use, and I have multiple iterations of that. So I have my general travel list when I travel, take X, Y, and Z, and then I also have a convention travel list and a visiting my family travel list, which are all of the above plus this, or plus this. So vaccination cards are always on my list. Dun dun dun. We'll be taking a look at Leader Games' new asymmetric game Ahoy. I don't have a current plan on it, but we'll see. This is a longer conversation. I may be cutting back on the amount of new games I play. I'm still continuing my Game of Day challenge. I'll still be going through I have a major backlog. I may be trying to cut down on the amount of new games I acquire with firm rules for myself, which will also very strongly limit what I'm willing to take on, because if I do this, it's not going to be based on buying. It's going to be based on getting, period. Which means I'm going to be potentially a lot more restrictive. Obviously, if I do this, there'll be a full video, because why wouldn't there be? But I'm examining some possibilities on my end. Possibilities are just, not really possibilities, just rules and restrictions to whatever. We'll talk about it. Come on, regarding to Primal, how do you know there'll be a do you know if there'll be a flowchart to remind players of if this, then that? I think there should be. I think there should. I don't know if they actually planned on it. I vaguely recall they said they would, but it's a vague recollection. Seth Wiseman, I'm insulted that you have yet to insult me. Seth, I don't like to start the war. I just like to end it. This is gonna be dangerous. I'm gonna start inviting people in to insult me. If you start insulting me, depending on how well you do it, I may just find it contentious and block you. Successful, I have enough of a relationship with that I actually understand that he's very sad and alone, and I do what I can to help him out. So it's just a different story. Billy Spencer, I insult my friends all the time and they insult me. Petrified, do you still watch other content creators for reviews? If so, do you find it hard to not let their opinions bias your final opinion? Good question, Petrified. So first of all, I do watch other content creators for reviews. Not necessarily as much as I used to, but certainly plenty. As far as biasing myself, my answer is a firm, hard no, but also maybe. I mean, I don't specifically restrict myself. Like I know King of Average, for instance, he has a rule he doesn't watch reviews until he's played and covered the game so as not to bias himself. For myself, I don't really care that much. It's possible that something will bias me, absolutely possible. I would say more towards, I don't know, I guess it could go either direction. You could have like a hyped up review, this is the best game ever, and then you play it and you're like I know like Tom Vassell gave Ark Nova a 10 out of 10, and I played Ark Nova and I was like, it's good, but it's not amazing. But the problem is that bias equally existed by just the general buzz around Ark Nova. So I don't find reviews necessarily bias me any more than the general ecosystem of people caring or not caring. There are many games that come out no one seems to care about. There are many games that come out people love and adore. The general bias of having expectations set in either direction could happen. Reviews, I don't think, are a specific additional aspect to it. In any case, Rob Condon, do you too many bones? What gear lock would you keep as is? What gear lock would you make changes to? And what gear lock would you completely trash? There are none that I completely trash. I love all the gear locks. Which gear lock would I make changes to? Possibly Stanza. I love Stanza, but there are elements of Stanza I think are potentially a little bit more complicated to run. I think Stanza could be made simpler potentially. And as far as what gear lock would you keep as is? Most of them, because I love most of them. Genders Gaming. I love Beast and Mind Management. They're both amazing. Pokeblaze. Favorite game meant for couples. I just did a top 10 couples video. Meant for couples is a very specific term. Do you mean meant for couples? Or do you mean two-player game? Patchwork is a consistently good game that I go back to that's very coupley flavored, but it's not actually a couples game. There's many games that are not meant for couples. They're just two-player games. And I hate Fog of Love. That's meant for couples. But I don't know. Michael Joseph, sorry, I'll show some questions. Thanks for doing this. You rock. Yeah, it's a little too spread. I didn't know exactly where to go, so I just said words, which honestly is most of my videos anyway. Dun dun. Successful. Which YouTube gives the best reviews? Not that you might agree with, but gives enough info and context for you to make a decision. Ooh, that's a good question. Which YouTube channel gives the best reviews? Not that you might agree with, but gives enough info and context for you to make a decision. That's a good question. I think, first of all, Room and Board, I think, does a fantastic job. Chris George from Room and Board, I think his reviews, he doesn't do a lot of them, unfortunately, but his reviews tend to, I find they manage to hit a balance that is wonderful. They managed to hit a balance of being entertaining, informative, having personalities in there, while covering both the pros and the cons and trying to be as fair and as objective as possible. I think that does a fantastic job. It probably most closely resembles my own approach with more humor and personality behind it. I think Chris George from Room and Board possibly might be my answer. I also love 5 and 5 from One Stop Co-op Shop. I find those are a little bit fact-based, like here's 5 pieces of whatever information. I love those, but I don't know if they're as fully comprehensive as I might like, and I don't walk away with his own opinion. I think some other reviews potentially drift to, like, I love Foursquare. Foursquare is particular, like Dice Tower reviews in general, I like a lot, but I do find that they don't necessarily have as much information as I like, and they're kind of like, here's the game, and here's a general few random notes of opinions, but I don't walk away as fully informed. I find Foursquare and the conversational nature of Foursquare might be the best format I have. It's one of the reasons I like doing multiple reviews, but I think my answer might be Foursquare, followed by Chris George Room and Board. I like the conversational nature. I find a conversational review elicits things I don't otherwise get. Someone says, oh, I felt it was too hard. Another person goes like, wait, what do you mean it was too hard? I thought this. And suddenly a conversation develops that really manages to encapsulate the actual feelings behind the statement and not just the statement itself. They're a little longer, but I think Foursquare. Come Wang, do you still paint your miniatures? No, I need to. I have paints, I just don't prioritize it. Stacy, speaking of speed talking, I used to have to slow you down some of your earlier videos. I think like you've adjusted. Either I've adjusted or you've gotten used to me. Could go either way. Genders Gaming, hi Meg, love that you're a part of this. Yes, Meg is very much, we're doing a lot of things together. We'll talk more. Seth Wiseman, keep a photo of both sides of your vaccination card on your phone. That way you never forget it. So Seth, I do have a photo on my card. It's one of the things I have. I still travel with it because sometimes I can't find information as to whether a photo is good enough. And the last thing I want to do is head down to Gen Con and be like, well, we don't accept photos. And they're being completely unreasonable. And then, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, it's just frustrating. Come Wang. No, it could be frustrating. It's not actually frustrating. Come Wang, your speech is amazing. My typing is not keeping up. Get a drink. Coffee, perhaps. Coffee I already had, but I might have more today. Probably will. I'm going to Gen Con. Yogi Bear, if you didn't restrict how many storages would you need to store all the boxes you're being sent per year? I don't know if I fully get the question. Like, if I didn't get rid of games, I don't know if I fully understand the question. Seth, I'm just messing with you. I know you are, Seth, but just saying. The danger of that conversation about insulting relationships is it could encourage people to think, oh, the best way to be like friends with Alex is insult him on a regular basis. No, I tolerate Successful. I'm not friends with him. Academy. Just wanted to say that I love your YouTube thumbnails. Makes it so easy to find what we're looking for. Academy, I'm happy that you do. I appreciate that. Yeah, the YouTube thumbnails, one of the first things I looked up when doing YouTube was your YouTube thumbnails should immediately be recognizable that it's your channel. That's like the first and most important thing. Past that, they should be catchy and have information. I still think I can make them better. Like for a while now, I've been wanting to somewhat improve upon them, but I do think they're good in general, so I kind of have them. Sam Howe, is the Stars of Icarus review coming soon? What's your first impression of the game? First impression is I enjoy it. I think it's a solid game that I'll play through X number of missions and get rid of. I think X is the key term. I don't actually think I'll finish it right now, but I don't know until I fully play it. As far as the review, lots of things on the table. I played 3 games already, but I need to dive back in with the rules, full rule book, all that stuff. It might not be soon. Successful Geek, sad maybe, alone no, my wife is amazing. Successful, that is so sweet. Good on you for using the opportunity that I insulted you to take an opportunity to praise your wife. Good on you. Good on you, man. I'll say nice things the rest of the stream. Only nice things about Successful the rest of the stream. Travis, sorry if this has been discussed, but which Polyomino game would you go for if only one? Planet Unknown or Foundations of Rome? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I think Planet Unknown is the better... I think Foundations of Rome is the better game. I think Planet Unknown is tempting because of the variety and the accessibility. Greater accessibility for player count, for other players. I think if I was recommending one, I'd recommend Planet Unknown. Partially because of the fact that I'm torn and it's half the price. If I was choosing for myself and ignoring the price aspect, I think I'd go with Foundations. It's very, very close. I think I'd go with Foundations, though, because I definitely prefer the game better. The question is the variety aspect and the accessibility to others. But I have Baron Park for accessibility to others, so it's really... I mean, the player count on Planet Unknown is excellent, but either way. Dale, sorry, I just came in. Nothing to apologize for, Dale. Mike, just managed to pick up a used copy of King of the Monster. Just wondering what your thoughts are on it. I love the channel. First of all, thank you for loving the channel. Appreciate it. But as far as King of the Monster, my thoughts on it are I eventually will play it one day because I feel like I should, but I'm not pulled in by the theme of it, and so I'm not in a rush at all. Come when? Could see Project Lead on shelf. Is the Centipede Mini still holding up? No, actually. If you watch my unboxing, the Centipede Mini broke from the very first time I played with it. So, not even played with it. Just unboxed it and set it up on the table for the sake of the unboxing. So, yeah, I had some issues with it, but I don't really use it past that. James, hi Alex. Just want to say I love your channel. Keep up the great content. Thank you, James. Volcha, hey Alex. Greetings from the Czech Republic. Hey, greetings. Stacy, by the way, I continuously appreciate the mix of hot now luxury and just current goodbye games that you cover. Yeah, the only problem is if I do actually restrict if I restrict the amount of games I take on, then it's going to be more and more of the best things that I can find, which don't necessarily mean that I will love them. But yeah, I have to figure things out. It's a balance in my end that I'm starting to feel a bit pulled in too many directions, and so I have to prioritize what I want to prioritize. And that's going to be an interesting conversation that might affect the content of the channel, not in any major way, but it might affect the content of the channel. Boatman, should I back Lords of Ragnarok or buy Lords of Hellas? I don't want to answer that until Lords of Ragnarok is a completely finished game. My instinct is Lords of Ragnarok, but what I played was the prototype, and the prototype had issues. In fact, I got into hot water for giving it a way too positive review after listing all the issues. I listed it all, I was like, here's 7 issues with the game, 5 out of 5, and people were like, that's stupid. And I was like, you know what, I hear you. You're not wrong. Because I was rating it based on the assumption that some of these small stupid issues would be resolved, but they may not be. And so that's the trade-off there. So I would say my instinct is Lords of Ragnarok, but I'm going to wait till I play the final copy. Flying Solo, really enjoy your content, Alex. Keep up the great work. We'll have to check out the rest of the live stream tomorrow. Midnight here in Australia. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Have fun. Enjoy. Successful. Had to ask so I can watch that channel instead of yours. Good, you should. Chris George from Room and Board, his content is amazing. Sadly, he doesn't cover as many games as I do, so you'll have to come to me for some. Same thing with Foursquares. Foursquares is very limited, so the best recommendations I gave you don't cover the full breadth of games, so, I mean, you can still find other channels, I'm sure, but yeah. Petrified, did you happen to see Set Up and Sit Down Spirit Island review recently? Thoughts? Petrified, I have found that I watch less of Shut Up and Sit Down's content. I like them a lot. I think they're amazing. They're incredible. The sheer quality they put out is amazing. This is one of those weird spots where I'm allowed to have personal opinions, but I don't want to talk trash about other content creators, and I'm not talking trash here. I'm not. But I think they're incredible, and I've watched them dedicatedly for years. And I kept watching them even after I realized that my opinions don't align with theirs a lot. More often than not, my opinions, my personal opinion, nothing to do with the presentation, nothing to do with anything, just the games they like and the games I like, there's often a vast difference. The games they love, I'll try out of excitement and be like, not so great. And the games they trash are often games I love. And so more and more I started shifting away from watching their content quite as much. I'll still pick up and watch here and there because the presentation is absolutely amazing that sometimes, even though I'm not watching it to be informed, I'm watching it to be entertained. But I watch it less because of that. So the short answer is no on the Spirit Island one. I don't know what they said. Did they not like it? Because my instinct is that if I love a game, they don't like it. So we'll see. I mean, we do align on some things. Like, they loved Istanbul. I loved Istanbul. There's other games that we align on. There's definitely other games we align on. Crokinole, do they love Crokinole? I hope they love Crokinole. They love Mind Management. I love Mind Management. We definitely align, but not a lot. How far back am I in the chat? 7 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna skip a few questions to catch up a bit. I apologize to those I'm skipping. Dun dun dun. Kum Wang, hope to see more of your lovely kids in your videos. Would you rank them too? Joking. Kum Wang, I absolutely do have a mental ranking for my kids, but I'm not going to put that in a video that they can watch on the internet. But I think anything can be ranked with caveats and qualifications. I love all my children, to be very clear, and the rankings are like very, very slim, but like they're I think anything can be ranked. But past that, as far as having them on the videos, they've been on camera less and less as they've become less enamored with the charm and the fun of being on camera. They still do it here and there, but they used to really want to, and then they stopped caring as much. Petrified. Personally, I love how fast you talk. Great pace to get the info. Still watch you in 2x speed a lot. My wife just knows you as a person. She never understands. Yeah, so that's always the balance that I find tricky, which is some people will come to the channel and be like, can you slow it down, bro? And other people are like, no, I love the fact that you give the information quickly. And I know for myself, I always feel other channels should speed up. I'm like, just go faster. I want to hear it faster. So the balance is, do I continue to speak as fast as I can because some people like it, or do I don't know. My goal is always to be mindful of the speech without overly trying to slow it down. Great Fox, have you thought about having your own version of a Seal of Excellence? Yes, I have. Absolutely. I just haven't executed on that. I think it's reasonable at this point, where with the amount of games I cover and the amount of... I think it's absolutely reasonable to have a Seal of Excellence. I have to spend time coming up with the things and the graphics and the stuff. Done. Carl Gannon, sorry if this has been asked, what are your thoughts on the FunForge situation? I think that FunForge is in a tricky situation, as with many other companies. I hope I'll see the games I've backed through them, because I did back games through them, and unfortunately, the world is what it is, and it's unfortunate. That's what it is. Stacy, your YouTube thumbnails are among the best I've seen in the genre. Don't change. Stacy, I don't plan on changing them. If I do anything, it'll be small adjustments. Like, just to give you one small example, I need some more icons for the little graphic that goes in the left corner. I have other formats that I don't have icons for, and I just kind of use other icons in place of it. So small stuff like that, maybe small tweaks or adjustments. I don't plan on making any changes, but thank you. Let's see, I'm scrolling down past. Sean Marks, from what you've seen so far, Primal versus Oathsworn versus Wild Ascent. Ooh, Oathsworn I need more time with, but Oathsworn is amazing. So is Primal, so is Wild Ascent. I would say, I think Primal has the best chance of staying in my collection the longest, based on where I am with them so far. But those are all great games. Bill Engel, good day. Should I wait and back Oathsworn or back Lords of Ragnarok? Those are two different genres. I think I prefer Oathsworn, but I like Lords of Ragnarok. Oathsworn really has its hooks in me. Adam Cox, Dead Reckoning or Sea of Legends? I've only played Dead Reckoning, so I'll choose that one. Michael Joseph, think you'll ever play Return to Dark Tower? I am absolutely fine on playing Return to Dark Tower, but I'm not going to go out and buy it. At least not right now. So I'd have to be at a convention, or they'd have to reach out and say, hey, we'd love to send you a copy to review, in which case I'd say, yes, absolutely, because that's an expensive game. But yeah. Professor Meg, campaign games all day, every day. Professor Meg, yes indeed. Wild Ascent, Oathsworn, and Primal. We have to have conversations, Meg. 20. Have you watched that unboxing video of Isis Vanguard from On Table? I haven't. I usually watch On Table's videos as soon as I possibly can. They are some of the best, no, not some of. I believe On Table has the best unboxings in this space. I think. I'd have to look at it more critically, but I'm pretty sure they're the ones that I find the most incredibly amazing, quick, short, to the point, incredible graphics, incredible demonstration. Love them. Also, this past week, I've been busy as anything prepping for Gen Con, so I've watched less content than I usually do. DX Pilot, do you get your copy of Mythic Mischief yet? I don't believe so, not yet. I have to double check. Not double check. I know I didn't get it. I have to double check what the status is. Rafael Castro, why do you have so low of an expectation for the War of the Rings card game? I have a low expectation for it. I think I don't know what I said I don't know what I said that makes you think I have a low expectation for the Lord of the Rings card game. Do you mean War of the Rings? By the way, War of the Rings. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. We'll see. Omega Rocker, I'm thinking about taking my 13-year-old son to Gen Con next year. He gets games quickly, but is it bad etiquette to sit out a game with someone that might not like kids? Oh no, screw them. Screw them. Your 13-year-old son is not a kid. This is tricky. I don't know what it necessarily means to game with someone that doesn't... What do you mean doesn't like kids? Like, someone who doesn't like a 13-year-old, go jump in the lake. I couldn't care less about you. I just don't care. If the concern is that they think you're going to play a game with them with somebody who's not going to bring the same level of potential skill to the table, I think that is potentially a more reasonable fear. Might be completely wrong. Your 13-year-old son might be amazing at games, in which case, who cares? But I think it's potentially a reasonable expectation that I want to play games with people of a certain skill level. But to just not like kids, go jump in the lake. I don't care about them. I mean, I'm biased. I have 4 kids, but still. Dragons 1210. Who's ready for Primal Awakening? I'm certainly ready. Grey Fox Games. So does that mean you don't love Concordia? I love Concordia. Oh, I love Concordia. Yeah, so again, we do align. Setup Down and I do align, but my guess is we align like 25% of the time. If they like a game, it's a better indicator that I won't, and if they hate a game, it's a better indicator that I will. It doesn't mean it's a perfect indicator, just like any reviews are not perfect indicators. And I love Concordia. They are darn right in Concordia. Okay, Sam Howe. Are the Lords of Hellas and Lords of Ragnarok different enough to own both? In theory, yes. In a perfect world, they are different enough to own both. But I'm looking at it from the stance of having multiple other area control games, and they're certainly similar enough that when you're looking at owning Blood Rage and Blood Rage and Rurik and Inish and Cyclades and Kemet and Lords of Ragnarok and Lords of Hellas, I know that I don't need to own both in that context. And I own even more area control games. So the short answer is you can absolutely own more. I am less in a rush to own both of those given the other area control games I have. Petrify. Just asked because I knew how little you align with them. They gave it a such setup and sit down recommend, so I assumed to be one of the few you actually agree with. Yeah, Spirit Island's fantastic. I'm happy. I mean, I guess I was about to say I'm happy when I align with them. I don't know if I care when I align with them. I'm happy they liked it so that it can be better spread to others who I think will enjoy it, especially with the new Target version of Spirit Island going out there. By the way, for the record, just for the record, this is a random point here. In my video this past Friday, I made a big deal about saying, hey, if anyone wants to have a conversation about Darkest Dungeon, if anyone wants to, not Friday, was it last Friday? It might have been this past Friday, yeah. I basically talked about Darkest Dungeon, and I said, if anyone has anything that they want me to address more in detail, this is a good Q&A to do it in, where I could actually engage one-on-one, because I just can't reply to every comment. I wish I could. And so people had reasonable questions that I was like, I'll absolutely engage with those. No one's really throwing them in over here, so, listen, you don't have to. I'm just saying, if anyone has any questions on my stance of Darkest Dungeon and wants to have it back and forth, like, but X, Y, and Z, Mythic Games, X, Y, and Z, and this and that, I'll happily engage with it, but seriously, no pressure. I'm just saying that was something I told people in my Friday video, so that's a thing. Anyways, Curious Gamer, what game is similar to Euthia that you'd rather play than Euthia? Mage Knight. Mage Knight. Get Mage Knight Ultimate Edition for $150. It is heavy. It is hard to table, and there is a possibility it one day leaves my collection. Also, I really hope it doesn't, and it's amazing. S. Lee, would you be nervous about backing Anastair at this point? Well, that's a tricky one. That is a tricky one. I think if I were a consumer, I would be nervous about backing a Mythic Games product. I think I would. It's hard to say I wouldn't be. At the same time, I think the practical reality is that the tricky part of the situation is the more nervous people get about backing Mythic Games products, the more of an issue it potentially could be and cause a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think Mythic Games, I think if nothing else is really going on, Mythic Games, if people just like, I don't know, I think Mythic Games is probably totally fine. I think it would be silly to not have some extra degree of nervousness around their products or any large project. So I guess I would say I'm still backing. I'm not asking for a refund on any of my pledges. Nothing's changed on my end, but I understand any degree of nervousness. John Smith, are you excited for Marvel Zombicide? I'm definitely excited for it. I don't really follow that much as far as news. I see the updates and I click on them, but these Kickstarters take a long time to fulfill, and I find it better to not be constantly waiting on them. I just like when they show up at my house, and I'm like, ooh, surprise. John Gerritz, I'm fully regretting not getting Sundrop after watching the Isis Vanguard unboxing. I say this in every Awaken Realms video, get the Sundrop. You will not regret it. You will regret not getting it. You will not regret getting the Sundrop. It costs money, but I think it really adds. Seth Wiseman, I think the fear of playing with kids isn't necessarily skill level, it's that the kid might be a solo or something. I've never had that problem with any of the kids of people in my group. So this is my own messed up approach to, I guess, things in life in general. I would never have a problem sitting down and playing a game with a kid, worrying about the kid being a solo loser. If the kid has a hard time losing, I think it's better for him to lose, personally. I think it's better for them to start figuring out ways to get them out of the system. You don't solve being a solo loser by winning. That's avoiding the problem. You solve it to some extent by losing and then figuring out how you want to engage with it next. I would have no guilt, no frustration, no something at all. If I played a game with a kid and then he had a temper tantrum, I just wouldn't care. There's a degree of parenting that's involved in that conversation as how to avoid that. There's also some things that are difficult children inherently. I'm never going to just blame a parent and say, well, you just didn't raise your kid. Sometimes kids are difficult and they have their own challenges and everyone's a little special and different in their own way. And so it's hard. But I'm not going to mitigate my behavior because I'm worried about a kid being a solo loser. I will play the game, and life has to happen. And that's just, it is what it is. Life has to happen. Rafael Castro, about War of the Ring card game. I think he said somewhere would be tolerable at best. Why would I say that? War of the Ring, the card game. What I may have said is I may have said offshoots of games are less likely, not less likely, offshoots of games are often disappointments. I may have said that, because offshoots of games are often disappointments. But I don't think inherently there's a reason to believe it's bad. I just think game offshoots. If you're like Castle Burgundy, and Castle Burgundy the card game, Castle Burgundy the dice game, yeah, some of those offshoots are going to be disappointments. That happens. That happens a lot with a lot of games. Some offshoots are amazing. Seven Wonders Duel. There are offshoots that are great, there are offshoots that are bad. I wouldn't have any expectations that it's good, but I also don't have expectations that it's bad. Bling That Game. What's your favorite large-scale civilization game? I don't know what you mean by large-scale. I'm going to go with Classic Cultures, probably. Rob, hey Alex, love the channel. I backed Anastyr for Mythic Games and Blacklist Miniatures Fantasy Series. Do you think I'll actually get them? I think Anastyr is very likely. Not a guarantee. Nothing's a guarantee. I think it's very likely. I think Blacklist Miniatures is more up in the air, but the practical reality is that we have games sitting in a warehouse. These games are produced. So the only real question, here's the binary aspect. I actually talked about this in my week in review coming this Saturday, which I've already filmed. But I think I talked about it. I'm pretty sure I did. But the practical aspect is Quartermaster Logistics has all the copies of Fantasy Series 1. So there's only one of two things that happen here. Either, option one, that somehow, whether between Blacklist Games or whether between Quartermaster Logistics offering them if you pay the shipping or something, between those two, they get the game to the backer. That's option one. You get the game, you may or may not have to pay for it, but you get the game. Option two is Quartermaster Logistics liquidates and sells all that inventory to pay for the debt themselves, and they sell to other people. They just go on eBay and say, hey, boom, we've acquired this inventory in place of the debt that Blacklist Games owes us, and we will sell this off ourselves. Those are the only two long-term options. Every other option is just a delay. But Quartermaster Logistics is not going to sit on the games forever, and I don't imagine they just trash them. So either the problem is resolved at some point, or the games are sold to pay for the debt. And from those two, I imagine Quartermaster Logistics would rather deal with the backers and sell them to the backers before selling them themselves. So I don't know what happens next. I think we're mostly talking delays, and I think the chances of you seeing your games in some way or having the opportunity to pay more for them, I think the chances of that are high, but also not a guarantee. Trevor, did you get Age of Atlantis in the mail? I did not. I keep seeing people get it, and I got nothing. It's probably going to arrive today, like right after I leave. I'm leaving like right. Speaking of which, this live stream will end at 11 o'clock, like almost promptly. I say almost promptly because sometimes I lie, but I'm going to Gen Con right after this, so I'm incentivized. Dale Radcorp, don't mess with the War of the Rings fans. They're still waiting for the review. I need to play War of the Ring. I know Devin from Devin Talks Tabletop needs to play War of the Ring, so we're going to make a date and play it. Seth Musgrave, do you think Darkest Dungeon is going to be good enough that all this mess is worth it? No, Seth, I don't. Now, to be very clear, I haven't played Darkest Dungeon, but basically, Darkest Dungeon is one of the few Mythic Games I didn't actually back. I watched the content for the game, and it seemed like there was too much upkeep and tediousness that wasn't as compelling. Like, I wasn't compelled. The miniatures looked amazing. The game, all these things looked amazing. I probably should have backed it because it would have held its value, although with all this drama, maybe a little less so. But I did not actually back Darkest Dungeon. I would love to cover it. If Mythic Games sends me a copy, I would love that. I do want to play it. I just wasn't prepared to spend $400 in it because I was like, I'm not pulled in enough by this game. And so I didn't back it even without the drama. Again, I do want it to be very clear. I hope Mythic Games sends it to me. I have a good relationship with them. I hope they do. But I didn't back it before, so I'm not going to tell you I believe it's worth it now. I didn't think it was worth it before. Although, judgment call based on not playing it, just based on seeing content around it. Dale Anchor, which Kickstarter game are you most excited about receiving? Well, after all the conversations today, probably Primal. I'd have to think about it, but Primal's definitely up there. Petrified, Darkest Dungeon thoughts. So Petrified, I need a more specific question. I covered my thoughts in the video, but my whole point, like my Friday video was all about Darkest Dungeon, Mythic Games, the whole situation. If people have additional questions but you said this and I think that, I can engage with that in a more of a live back and forth. It's a little harder to respond to every single comment. I replied to some, but not every single one. Darkest Dungeon, how dark is it? Do I need a flashlight or will it ruin the experience? Seth, you are funny. Grey Fox Games. Grey Fox, not Grey Fox Games. You can talk to Sam Healy. He no longer works at Mythic Games. I can provide some insight of what's going on, maybe. No, I would never do that. Absolutely never. I will never put someone in a position where they even feel the pressure to in some way violate some degree of biased conversation. Like, it's just a weird situation to be in. I don't want to put people in a difficult spot, even for them to have to say, I don't feel comfortable asking that. Sam Healy worked for Mythic Games. Let's say he hates Darkest Dungeon. Okay, let's say he does. I don't know. He has said he likes Darkest Dungeon, so I assume he likes it, but what if he secretly hates it? What if all this, I'm not trying to, impeach him. That's not the goal here. The point is, if somebody is in a situation, like I've worked for a company, I've been, like for a long time, I worked for a company, I left my job, and there were situations in which I believed one thing, but felt that because of my position, I couldn't be as blatantly transparent or direct as I would like to be, because life is complicated. Life is complicated. So like I might think that the customer has, is like 80% right in the situation, but I just can't say that because I work for the company. There are complications in life that I'm not going to put someone in a hard space to. I would never ask Sam. That's the short version. If he wants to talk to me and say whatever he wants, by all means. I wouldn't even ask him. But yeah. As Billy Spencer, I had my fill of drama with the Blacklist Games stuff. There is so much drama. Blacklist Games is the one I don't agree with, by the way. And I talked about this last week in my weekend review, but the big reason, I think it was last week, maybe it was this week, I think it was last week. But the big thing for me with Blacklist Games compared to other companies is I understand every company having problems. And I even understand companies not saying things right away. I think there's people often are like, well, why didn't you say something sooner? Well, the answer is they were trying to resolve it. And starting a big panic about something that you hope will be resolved, I understand the reasons to be transparent from the get-go. I also understand the reasons to not. I think it's very reasonable to say, listen, we're trying to solve this, we're trying to approach it. Obviously, we'll talk to people if we need to, but we don't want to like instill panic and frustration and all these things if we don't need to even do that. Completely understand that. Again, I understand both sides. I'm not saying that one's better than the other. I think they're both reasonable approaches. But the thing I do not appreciate in any way, shape, or form and have no excuse for is if you have a problem and people see the problem and then they call out the problem. If you want to be quiet about it, fine. If you want to issue a statement addressing it and not lying, fine. Blacklist Games gaslit their backers again and again and again and again. I say this as someone who has had their products, has been a fan of the people involved in the company, some of the people. I don't know who was tied to which conversation that they could or couldn't say things. But as an entity, Blacklist Games gaslit their backers. They consistently had issues and they consistently kept on coming up with excuses and reasons to pretend the issues didn't exist. That to me is people seeing the problem and you trying to make them think like they're the crazy ones. I have a lot of tolerance for companies. A lot of tolerance. That to me is my line. I just don't think you can ever build that goodwill back up. I just don't think you can. It's not an issue of we weren't transparent enough. It's an issue of we blatantly lied to you and tried making you think you were crazy when you saw these issues. That's my line. Isaac, a call back to the conversation you had with James Hudson. I think it's important to have a critically constructive negative review if you don't like the game as long as it's honest. What do you think? I think having critically constructive negative reviews are very important. I think they're great. My big thing with negative reviews that I've talked about in the past is negative reviews, at least on my channel and on many channels, will be less common because most reviewers don't want to spend time on games they don't like, and most reviewers don't want to review a game they only played once. So if you give me a game I don't enjoy, if I'm going to review that game, I feel the pressure to play the thing I don't like a second time or a third time, usually a second time. I'm not willing to give it a third time, just to confirm that I don't like the thing I don't like. And if it's a longer game, actually if it's a 4-hour-long Euro, I have to dive into another 4-hour-long Euro that I already didn't enjoy just to confirm to you that I don't like the game. I don't love that. So for me, it's not about the fact that I don't think it's important. I think it's very important. I think negative content is harder to achieve because you have to spend time on the thing you don't like, and most people are understandably not in a rush to do so. Mediocre content I can do more easily. Hey, that game was okay. I'll play the okay game again. I'd rather play Terraforming Mars, but I'll play the okay game again. Actively don't like reviews. Those are very rare on my channel, and even then, half the time they'll be first impressions because I'm just not willing to say, that it is, I'm not willing to call it a review if I played it once. So yeah, that's the balance there. Seth, kid is sore loser. True, when it's your kid, I'm on the same page. I was referring to how someone else might feel hesitant playing with somebody else's kid. No, I'm talking about that. I'm saying I will happily play with somebody else's kid, and if they are a sore loser, they are a sore loser. I'm not trying to cause them pain, but I'm not gonna adjust my entire behavioral approach. Or again, think about this practically speaking. If you say I'm not willing to play with kids, then you, hypothetically speaking, let's just assume a magical number here. Let's say 10% of kids are going to be sore losers. 10% of 13-year-olds are sore losers. If you take the approach, I'm not willing to play with kids, you're hurting all 10 of those kids. And if you don't take the approach, I'm not willing to play with kids, at worst, you're hurting one kid. And even that one, you're not really hurting. They have to engage with the reality of the world. I'm totally willing to play with other people's kids. Absolutely. Joshua Burke, can you provide a ranking out of 5 for Uthia, Dark Tower, and Moonrakers? Absolutely. Moonrakers, assuming you're playing with the expansions, is a 4 out of 5. Dark Tower is a nothing because I haven't played it. And Uthia, I give a 3.5 out of 5. I really like aspects of it. I found the combat to be a little tedious and the game to be a little grindy. I both want to dive back into it because there are many elements that I want to further explore and characters I want to play more and level up in different ways. But also, I played it enough and I'm ready to move on from it. Seth Wiseman, I have a theory about the problems in gaming, the money problems in gaming. It's the same story as why teachers and social work salaries are so low. Let me know if you want to talk about it. I'm always happy to talk about it, Seth. But yeah, let me go. Where are we up to? Okay, I need to scroll back. I lost time here. Omega Rocker, thanks Alex. I won't worry about that and will take my son to Gen Con. I think it'd be a good experience for him and I want to nurture his love of gaming. I certainly would. I would. Adam Cox, which 2022 Kickstarter back are you most excited for so far? Marvel Zombies, probably. I'm really excited for Marvel Zombies. I mean, I love, like, that's going to be a top 10 game for me, almost certainly. Just based on where Black Plague is, I have to imagine Marvel Zombies is a top 10 game for me. Curious Gamer, Omega Rocker, do it. Gen Con's an amazing experience. Pokeballs, regretting not backing Mythic Mischief, is it worth $150 on eBay? No. Pokeballs, so here's the deal. Yes, it would be great to have Mythic Mischief today, but Mythic Mischief will come back to Kickstarter or GameFound in some way, shape, or form. I all but guarantee it. I just assume that they will. Ivy Games has a history of bringing back their games to Kickstarter or GameFound, and so I imagine you'll see Mythic Mischief back. And you'll get it for cheaper if you're willing to wait. Granted, you have to be willing to wait. So now it's a question about what premium are you willing to pay. It's a great game, but yeah. Rafael Castro, thanks for the response. I do agree with what you said about offshoot games. Let's hope for the best. Petrified, I just received my copy of Mythic Mischief on Monday, but haven't had a chance to play it. Recommendations for the first factions to play? No. I think all the factions are totally fine. I particularly like the trolls and the vampires. I like their movement ability. I don't know if I like their after lunch ability quite so much. I like all the factions. That's why no. I just think they're all fine. Maybe the ghosts save for a little bit later. They're a drop more complicated. Come Wang, what do you do when your boards get moldy? They don't get moldy. I don't know what's happening, but my boards don't get moldy. S. Lee, did you go all in with Anister? Yes, I did. I generally go all in with the games I like. I don't think, speaking frankly, I do not think I'll play all the content. I think I will play Anister until I get to a certain point and then think to myself, this is fun. I'd rather play more Marvel Zombies, and then I think I'll get rid of Anister. I like Anister, but it does give me the same gameplay feeling as Zombicide, and so I think I'll play other Zombicide games, Massive Darkness. Again, went all in. We'll happily sell it all later. We'll figure it all out. Thomas Nemeth, what do you think about Tammany Halls? Tammany Hall is a great game that I stopped playing. I thought it was a really solid experience, but I also felt that in terms of mean games, there are other mean games I prefer. Tammany Hall was, like, it actually, like, hurt a friendship. Not my friendship, it hurt other two people who are not friends anymore. Joshua Burke, should I wait to get Kingdom Death Monster in the hoping they come back to Kickstarter? Oh, that is a tough one. I would not make that bet at all. Brownbeard, which is better, Massive Darkness or Zombicide, Green Horde, Black Plague? I have to play more Massive Darkness 2 to answer that, so I'm not willing to answer that yet. Petrified, did you happen to see the most recent update for Lords of Ragnarok and shipping? I did not, actually. I did not see it. Thank you. I'll go take a look. Chris Richardson, and by the way, Awaken Realms is fantastic. For the record, we're all on the subject here. Awaken Realms is absolutely incredible in so many ways, not least of which that they haven't done, I don't know what the Ragnarok says, but they've been so incredible just eating all these costs in left, right, and center. They have always been so consumer friendly. I don't give them enough credit. I should give them more credit. They are a fantastic company that has none of the drama that other companies continuously have, continuously put out games that people love, and they still get garbage about stupid things that don't matter. Awaken Realms should get all the praise in the world. Okay. Nick Binnickers, can you show how you store Seven Wonders? I like the game, but I hate sorting through the cards to filter out the different player counts. Yeah, I mean, didn't I just do this? Didn't I just, I feel like I recently did a video with Seven Wonders and the folded space insert I have for it. I feel like I did. If you check out my deluxification videos, I definitely did a video with Seven Wonders and my folded space insert. You can check out that. Just Google Board Game Co. Seven Wonders insert and see if it pops up. Hopefully it does. Where are we? I'm a little behind. Okay, Chris Christian. Mythic did right by me with Solomon Kane and Joan of Arc. I didn't mind paying another $50 for the game. My question, will we need to pay more for Hello Monster Apocalypse? My guess is yes. I don't know, but my guess is yes. They said they're evaluating, they said they're seeing, but unless shipping prices come down drastically, my guess is unfortunately yes. Chris Gaines, what factors do you think contributed for Frosthaven not having similar issues as Mythic Games? A $13 million Kickstarter. I think that helps. Seth Wiseman, message retracted. Ayana Gray, hey lads, keep your head up. These are troubling times. I appreciate it, Ayana. Thank you. Come Wang, Blacklist Games, hope they will make good for us. Street Masters and many more. So good. I hope Blacklist Games, I think they're trying now. And I will give them all the grace in the world to continue trying. But I think that they lost a lot of goodwill permanently. Rick Rosales, what's the average price nowadays for Kickstarter board games? Seems like most are pretty darn expensive. They are getting more expensive. That's absolutely true. I don't have an average. They're crazy. Is Darkest Dungeon worth the price? Again, I answered that already to a degree. I didn't think it was worth the price to me personally. I mean, I wasn't not worth. I wasn't willing to pay for it even before the drama. Petrified, yes, Petrified, okay. Philip DeFranco just shouted out the tabletop industry. Super cool to see the hobby get more mainstream attention. I was so psyched to see that Philip DeFranco likes Sherlock and other games. Like, I've been watching Philly D consistently for like 11 years. I'm so excited about that. I think it's very cool. I mean, yeah, I like Philly D, and I like him more now that I know he plays games. Chris Richardson, Come Wang, the designers of Street Masters are no longer with Blacklist Games. Yes, I know. Nate Freytag, is there something going on with Mythic Games? Lots of touching on the company. All I read is they're asking more for Darkest Dungeon. They are asking more for Darkest Dungeon, but it's a big deal because they're asking a lot more, and they were a little not ideal in the, not a little. They were not ideal in the way they communicated that to their backers. Not a little. I shouldn't defend them there. Their communication could have been better. Hey everybody, good afternoon here, Tim. Good afternoon, Tim. Carl Gannon, I worked multiple Gen Cons and Origins as a game demo rep. We are there for every customer and love showing families new games. Don't worry about people who think the con is just for them. Have fun. Thanks, Carl. Dallas, I must have missed it doing other videos, but do you think Monumental is in serious risk of not delivering? I mean, I think it's in serious risk. I'm not saying it's not delivering, but if you ask me what's my bet that I'll ever get my copy of Monumental, I don't know if I'd go above 50-50 odds. I think there's a chance I get it. I think there's a chance I don't. I don't have more information to be confident. Academy Champ Blue, I watched a ton of videos with Everdell, but you convinced me to go all in and buy the big box. I'm happy I convinced you, but also hope that it works out for you. If not, sell it, because that's a lot of money to spend. I mean, I think it's a great game. It's always a weird balance, being like, I convinced you to buy a game. Now let's hope you actually like it. I got an email from somebody. Oh my gosh, this is. I don't know if there's a way. No, I'll say this. Okay, so sometimes the very nature of being a content creator in any space, whatever space you're in, the nature of having people who watch your content, sometimes people don't really realize the boundary between the viewer and the person. There is a boundary. Like, I will happily see any single person at Gen Con, at any convention or whatever. I will treat you like you're amazing. That's great. But sometimes you get people who latch on in a way that is like, well, I appreciate that we can have a good friendly relationship, but like you just went to the idea that we're more than that. Like, we're best friends, or that you can in some way interact with me, and like, you'll see what I mean in a second. So I get a few kinds of things that will happen in different ways that sometimes cross a boundary that I'm like, listen, we're just not friends. We're friendly. I like you. I'm happy to hang out with you. I'm happy to play a game with you, but we're not really friends. And I had one person who, in a very short time frame, this happened like 2 weeks ago, in a very short time frame, they started emailing me consistently on a regular, like, daily basis to offer everything. And like, I responded to a few of them. I responded to Gage. And then like one day, again, this whole thing happened over the course of like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And then one day they're like, I just saw your Wild Descent review. I cannot believe you would like a game that is that bad. You've lost so much credibility with me. And I was like, okay, like, that's fine. Like, sometimes I will like a game that others don't. But I don't know, I feel like I was running on a weird tangent. This did go on a weird tangent, it did. I guess my point was more, I don't know, I think I'm going to move on from this one. There's no way to like move on from that. But the short version is twofold. One is that I will like a game that you don't. I absolutely will. That will happen. And I will not like a game that you will. My reviews and opinions are just my own, and that's it. And then secondly is sometimes people put a weirder degree of pressure on me than I'm actually expecting. Nick Freytag, no, we covered that. Dun dun dun. Sorry, I'm a little behind right now. Have you been able to play Oath from Leader Games, not Ledger Games? I have not played Oath, not yet. Mugu 2, hello Alex. Can we expect a review of Endless Winter? Can we expect it in your top 10 this year? Most likely, yes, although I have to see. It's been a decent year. They're always decent years, and 10 is a small number, but most likely, yes. And as far as a review, I will be re-reviewing it once I've played all the expansions. Pokeballs, just got my first command game, Ankh. I'm pretty disappointed with the stock storage insert. Oh, that's reasonable. I don't ever keep the command inserts. I always take it out because I like to condense it into as few boxes as possible. But for those who want inserts, I understand that. After all, I would have gotten DD just for the miniatures, but I'm kind of glad I didn't jump in for them. I was very compelled by the miniatures. They are very, like, some of the best miniatures I've seen in games have come from Mythic Games, but that's not enough for me. Sean Marks, 10 wanting Mythic Mischief. It's available through the Moonraker campaign too. Oh, thanks for the tip. I appreciate it. Kujar, did you back EOS Island of Angels? Yes, I did back EOS Island of Angels. That's one that I actually regret backing. Something that's a little tricky is I can play a game and really like it, but then as time goes on, I'm like, there's lots of games I really like, and I don't have enough time to play them all. EOS is a game that I do really like. I don't know if it'll hit the table because I think it plays best at 3 and 4, and I think practically speaking, we're going to pick other games over it. EOS is one of the games that I probably regret backing, not because it's bad, but because I just don't know if it'll get tabled as much as I like. It was a really good game, but I have a lot of good games, and I have to make hard choices. Again, I've been more and more critical about what I backed recently, the more I feel overwhelmed with all these games. Zono, what's your opinion on Kaleo? I don't know what Kaleo is. Is that the TV show Kaleo? Don't be bored. Would you have backed the Foundations of Rome expansion if it hadn't fit in the box? I don't know if I would have. I mean, it does fit in the box, to be very clear, but I don't know, would I have backed Foundations of Rome if it didn't fit in the box? I have to see more what the expansion does. I do have to see more. Right now, I don't have enough confidence over what the expansion actually does. They've listed very little information. Richard Durer, not at Gen Con yet? No, Richard. I'm leaving right after this live stream, which means I should be at Gen Con by like 4 or 5 p.m. or so. Bob, what was your thoughts about the recent BGD news that the new Geek Market... What? The new Geek Market is shutting down? I mean, it doesn't affect my life at all, but wow. That was quick. What happened there? Wow. Sorry, I'm just struck. Like, they put a lot of energy and investment to that. That's just shutting down? Whoa. I'm going to have to look that up after. Kusager, received Mythic Mischief over the weekend, but haven't opened yet. But after watching a few more gameplay videos, I think I might start off. No, open it, play it. That's not true. Going back to what I said earlier, you might hate it. I think it's fantastic. I love Mythic Mischief. Successful Geek, did we just become best friends? I don't know. What did I say or do? What did I say or do successful? I don't know. Stacy, one time you didn't like a game that I did until I bought it and played it and then realized, oh, we did agree. One time you didn't like a game that I did until I bought it and played it. You liked a game that you hadn't played yet? I don't know if that counts, Stacy. I don't know if that counts. Cohen, what are your thoughts on Massive Darkness? I've only just played the starting mission. I need to play it more. I hope to have a review at some point soon. It's just been very busy. Vladimir, have you considered buying a 3D printer? Yes, I have a 3D printer. I have an Ender 3 in the back room that I need to spend time tweaking with, because I used it a lot when I first got it, and then ran into a few speed bumps, and then it went away. Stacy, how many games are in your personal collection? Roughly 250 to 300 at any given time. It rotates a lot. Ayana Gray, come Wang, use a moisture absorber in the room to dehumidify it. Yeah, this goes back to the moldy game conversation. Dennis, did you cave and back fishing lessons? No, Dennis, I have not backed fishing lessons and I don't plan on it, okay? I'm trying to be so much more restrictive to the point my wife was saying to me, she's like, you know, the whole What We Backed series is going to get really stupid if you didn't back anything. And I was like, I'm aware. So far, I'm still backing like a minimum of 4 months, so it's still interesting, a bit mish, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I'm trying to back so much less. Really trying to be incredibly strict about it. Sarah Reed, the company behind it closed up. Sarah Reed, the company behind what closed up? Behind the Geek Market? What happened? Is that with the Geek Market? I don't know what we're talking about. Successful Geek, I mean, we are best friends without your consent. Successful, we're besties. Zono, Calio is a Canadian show about a bald kid who throws a temper tantrum because it is tomorrow. Plus, you pronounce is it Kaio? Kaio? I've seen the title. I've never watched it or know anything about it. But a show about a kid having a temper tantrum, I don't know if I'd love. Like, for context, we, as a family, chose not to watch Red. Seeing Red, the Pixar movie, we chose not to watch it. Not because any stuff about, you know, menstruation and periods and all that stuff. I know some people who don't like that in a kid show. I'm fine with that. And I'm not judging those who don't like it. I just don't care. It's the human body. Like, it's good for kids to know about the human body. That's my own opinion. I understand those who have their own sensitivities about what they want to talk about at any given point. Fine. Couldn't care less about that. The reason we did not watch Seeing Red or Turning Red or whatever it was is because from what I saw when I was trying to look into how much content there was about, you know, periods and whether it would or wouldn't cross the line for me, when I was looking into that, I found out that the show was effectively the movie Seeing Red or Turning Red is about a kid who is incredibly disrespectful to her parents the entire time, incredibly disrespectful, incredibly problematic, and then the whole message is she's right all along and her parents are wrong. That kind of garbage I don't need in my house. I mean, honestly, when you think about it, Disney shows and all that stuff, they have enough. This is like a good conversation for a full video at some point. But Disney shows have enough drama and problems with the fact that the message of most Disney shows is that the princess or main character knows better than her elders and she's proven right in the end. That's usually the message of a lot of these shows. Now, it is often subtle enough that I'm a little bit more okay with it. Turning Red, from what I saw, was way too explicit, and I just don't need my kids that message. Stacy, hi, Professor Meg. Where's Professor Meg? She was here earlier. I don't know where she is now. Pokeball, sorry if I messed up, but did you back Hegemony? No, I did not. I believe they're sending me a copy. My big thing with Hegemony was I think it's a great game, and I don't think I'll get tabled because of the asymmetric nature of it, and the fact that we already have a hard time tabling games like Root, and I'd rather play Root. Petrified, have you ever thought of doing a video kind of opposite of what you normally do for Command Mythic, where instead of arguing against the company, you go over the ones you think you do well a lot? I did, one time. One time I did a video of like the top 5 best board game companies. Awaken Realms was in that list, but I don't do that often. Sarah Reed, yes, sorry, the third party behind the Geek Market closed up shop. Wow. That's so messed up. I feel so bad for Aldi. Wow. Bob Albert, yeah, jeez. Thank you, Bob. Thanks for forwarding me. That is really sad. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad. Like, I know Aldi, the owner of Board Game Geek. They put a lot of effort and energy into that. That is hard. Andrew, seeing the current state of a lot of Kickstarter companies, do you think it's appropriate to add some more financial viability analysis to your Should You Back videos? So I've been recommending more and more that things are not good backs in general, and that's part of the reason why I have Culta now as well. I'm not going to walk into every campaign saying, hey, be careful, don't back things, but I do put out plenty of content that says, hey, be careful, don't back things. Dr. Worm, just getting more Forbidden Stars. Have you heard anything about the Famine expansion? I've heard about it. I haven't played it. Sean Marks, I just created a willing to back scale where Chris George is a 1 and you on a bad shelf controller they are a 10. Where do you rate yourself now? I've gotten much more restrictive. I back far less than I used to. I used to back like, I don't know, 9 or 10 campaigns a month. Now I'm backing like 3 or 4 months. So I'm getting better. Just took time. Come Wang, are you excited over Wingspan as Asia expansion? No, I don't have Wingspan. That's not true. I have Wingspan now. I just got Wingspan back because I'm doing review content for WSBG games. The week I'm going to be at WSBG, the World Series of Board Games, I'm going to have like reviews for all their games. So I happen to get Wingspan back temporarily just to review it, but it's not sticking around. I imagine it's not. Petrified, most awkward parasocial experience you or other content creators you know have experienced. I need to think for that. Give me a second. Arthur Mensing, Marvel Dice Stone is amazing. Roxy should make insert for every games. Yes, Roxy is incredible. Stacy, Everdell. Stacy, you're amazing. Stacy, and I was wondering, by the way, because I saw it at 11 o'clock, and I was like, Stacy in the past has been mindful of my time. You are very, very sweet. Thank you. Professor Meg, she's here. She's packing. Good, Meg. You should be packing. I need to finish packing when I'm done with this video. I'm almost done packing. And hey, Stacy. Yes, we both like Stacy. Stacy shows up in our Twitch live streams. We're playing through Gloomhaven. I have a character that's about to die. I'm very dramatically upset about it. We'll have a full video on the channel at some point. Wolfen Terror, there's such a condensed version of Turning Red and honestly insulting. The film is not about disrespecting your elders. Wolfen, I will acknowledge completely that my analysis is not based on me watching it. It's based on comments I saw, but multiple comments. I'm not going to watch it or engage with it or in any way, shape, or form. There were enough people who seemed incredibly turned off by the approach to the interaction with parents that I just don't feel the need to add it. Could I be horrifically wrong? Absolutely. Nick Binnickers, do your kids watch content or quacks? My kids do not watch my content or quacks. And then let's go to that last question. Most awkward parasocial experience you or other content creators you know have experienced. So, it's interesting. And I'll talk about this briefly. I don't know, I have to think about my own, whether I have anything that I can think about that really falls into a category that's crossing a real line. This is the last question. But I think that there was a big thing with like a big streamer. She's a big Twitch person, Amaranth, okay? She's a Twitch person, she does ASMR content, and she had a stalker. This is a recent thing. That's like 2 months ago. She had a stalker who sold his house. He streamed, like the stalker filmed himself doing this whole thing. He filmed himself going through the process of selling his house, liquidating his assets, so he can travel from maybe Denmark, some country, I don't know where it was, some country he was in, all the way to the US to camp outside her house for 2 months. And the police couldn't do anything because he was just camping outside her house. They're allowed to do that. He hadn't done anything that would necessitate a restraining order. He was just constantly streaming himself stalking this person. And then eventually, finally, one day he tried crossing the fence and she has security and they managed to get rid of him. But like this is like a 2-month process of knowing your stalker is right outside your house and having to deal with that reality. And that's not a construct I have to deal with. Thankfully, I'm nowhere near famous enough for that to be a problem, and I'm grateful for that. I don't want fame. I just like talking about board games. It comes with a minor like C, D, F, G list level of celebrity. Very minor. I'm fine with that level. But I think that sometimes we don't really realize the way, like, we see someone on the screen and we're like, okay, great, they're our friend. And to be frank, I've made so many friends through this. Every person on the other side of the screen could be a friend, could be someone I engage with and I like and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm also not friends with 40,000 people. That's the practical reality. I'm friendly and I have the opportunity, and hopefully we have enough alignment that we very much could be. But there's a difference between the could be and the commonality versus the immediate attachment to, like, I can have a relationship with that person well past whatever. Now, on my end, usually it comes down to a few emails, because I publicly put my email out there. I would remove my email if it was enough of a problem for me. It's not. Most people understand and respect boundaries. Occasionally get people who cross them, and usually just block an email and call it a day. So, on my end, I don't know if I have anything dramatic enough to make me change my behavior at all. I haven't had anything that goes weirdly parasocial. I've had people who sometimes think that I've had people, like, I remember, like, I had one person, I feel bad for this guy, like, he meant well, and I wasn't willing to deal with him. I had one person on Discord once that is, and when I say I feel bad for him, I don't mean I feel bad for him, I mean that I don't think he really realized he was crossing a line, and I felt the line was crossed, and so I blocked him. And I know since then he has, like, I've seen him on other things, and he might still watch my content, for all I know he's watching now, in which case, hey, I wish you well, I just wasn't willing to engage in that relationship. Where it was, this is actually something I referenced already, which is the Awaken Realms Lords of Ragnarok review, where he messaged me on Discord here and there, and I responded. I always, whenever someone messages me, as long as it doesn't get too much, I try to respond, because I like responding. If you message me daily, I'm going to delete half your emails, nothing personal. But I have a few people who message me enough that I don't respond to all their emails, and that's just life. I don't have time for it. But in general, I try to reply, because I like engaging with people. And this person was somebody who engaged with me on Discord a lot, and would message me on Discord, and I'd regularly engage. I'd say probably, like, every 4 days, 5 days, like, often enough that it was a quick message back, it was easy. And then out of the blue, he's like, I saw your Lords of Ragnarok video, and I think you're lying, and I don't trust your opinion, I think you're, like, a shill for them. I was like, hey, I've been giving you time, effort, and energy all the time, and you just walked up to me and said, you think I'm lying. My actual friends wouldn't do that. I'm certainly not going to engage with that from a stance of someone who is messaging with me back and forth, and I'm trying to give them the time. And so I did block him as a result. I messaged him back, said, hey, I'm not really interested in that kind of relationship or engagement, so I blocked him as a result. And it's not, it's complicated. It is complicated inherently being on the other side of a conversation where, in theory, you could be friends with a lot of people, but the practical reality is there's also a wall and a gap, and it's weird. And again, this is a weird conversation. I don't like this conversation because my goal here is not to ever incentivize someone to like not come up to me at a convention. Come up by all means. I say this a lot, and I keep saying this for a reason because it's true, but I say it because I like to incentivize. My favorite picture from Origins, my absolute favorite picture from this past Origins, was a picture where a fan came up with their son, by the way, so we're circling around with their son, and we got a nice big picture with myself, 2 or 3 other content creators, and then like him and his son. It's my favorite picture. It's such a moment full of joy, and I love that photo. Like, I adore it. It's my favorite picture from Origins. In no way am I trying to say you shouldn't come up to me, talk to me, email me. By all means, do so. Also, there sometimes, with some people, will be lines crossed where they don't necessarily understand that I can't be your best friend just because we talked once or emailed once. We could develop relationships. I've done so with multiple people. But it's not an immediate thing. It's something that happens naturally, and it's not just because you watch my videos, we're best friends. And lastly, Professor Meg, he's not dying, Alex, he's retiring. You're not wrong, Meg. But as far as I'm concerned, if I don't see Muskrat McBoard Game, it's semantics, death or retirement. Either way, we're going to go ahead and call this a day. I'm 6 minutes past, which I said I wouldn't do, but I also said I probably would do, so both things are true. I'm going to go pack up and start getting ready for Gen Con. I need to go grab something for the road and get my last few things in the car, and then like 5 minutes out, turn around desperately because I realized all the things I forgot. We'll figure all that out. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I really appreciate all of you. It's going to be a fun week. I have all my videos prepped and ready to go, and hopefully, if things go well, I'll have a Gen Con video up tomorrow. Also, in about 53 minutes, my vlog of my vacation to Professor Meg and Devon Talks Tabletop, my vlog goes up in 53 minutes. Make sure to check that out. That'll be a fun video for me. It's a fun video for me. Maybe it'll be a fun video for you. In any case, and until next time, I'm Alex Rad.